So welcome to your world with Prakash Kapila. So we have a very important episode this time. We are going to look into three different aspects of the issues that affects your world, my world, and our world. And these three are basically one is U.S. elections, the other one is about the India-China conflict, and the third one is about the drugs and the mafia in the Bollywood and Sushant Singh case. So all these three are very important wherever you are living in this world because we have a very good insight into the issues that are underlying the current issues. That's the whole point we're trying to make. Whoever is president of United States, it affects the whole world. Whether you like them, whether you don't like them, you are you will end up um, having some kind of effect because whoever is the president of United States. So we have this Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Either of them could be the president. And how are the polls going on? What are the issues that are really facing this particular polls is going to affect the whole world. The same case is India-China conflict. So both these countries are all. China is of course a superpower. It has all the uh, nuclear weapons. Both of them are nuclear countries, and they are in a very highly aberrated state of the brink of war. And the China is in a position where it can inflict a lot of injuries, and also it has its own weaknesses. We are going to look into each one of them and see how this continues. My friends, so today what we are going to talk about is Joe Biden. So, how is Joe Biden doing in the polls? What is he? Um, is he gaining a lot of weight, or how is he going about? So in US, as you know, there are the seats, congressional votes that each of the state gives. So each state is having some set of votes. All of them put together, uh, the people elect the president, but each state will have a specific amount of votes that is given to the popularly elected person, except in case of Nebraska, which is not that huge impact. So all these states put together, the winning candidate needs around 270 votes. So we have if you look in the chart, we have around Democrats getting around 204, 214, 215, and there are few other states that are what do you call toss-up states, or those states that can go either to the Republican or to the Democrat. So right now, with the present situation, Mr. Biden is in a good position with respect to the total number of votes. And there are six toss-up states that he needs to get at least two or three max to reach that 270 mark. So this two or three states, what are the six states? One is Florida, the other one is Pennsylvania, Ohio, Nevada, and Arizona, Pennsylvania. So these are the states where it could either swing to Republican or to the Democrat. And Joe Biden is leading, but Donald Trump is quickly catching up with the electoral votes. So from March, right, around June, it was mostly It was almost an equal kind of thing, where around 200 and 170, uh, 200 to 200 kind of thing was there, even like 50-40%. So in the other thing that is important in the elections here is the voting percentage, the number of voting that happens. Even if you're down by 5 points, you lose the seat, you lose the president elections. So it's going to be each percentage of each point is considered very important. So right now, Biden is leading nationally uh, around close to by 8 points. But in Florida, the president is leading by 4 points. So 57 is going to Biden, 47 is going to Biden, and around 53 is going to uh, Trump. If it has been like around 60 years that a person who has not won Florida has not still became president, right? So most of the presidents become presidents because they win Florida, Ohio. These are very battleground states. That's what they say. Um, and right now we have North Carolina, Pennsylvania leaning towards Biden. So if he's able to carry like North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Nevada, and he's going to romp home with the presidency. Whereas for Donald Trump to become president, he has to win all the battleground states. He has to win all the 6 states like Florida, Nevada, um North Carolina, Pennsylvania. So the odds are in favor of Joe Biden. The charts, if you see the charts, they clearly mention where each one is standing and how each one of them is able to is dividing the electorate towards themselves, is attracting electorate, I must say, towards themselves. So the Latino vote, that is those who have come from South American continent to US, they are mostly situated in Florida and Texas and California. So California, a lot of Mexicans are there. In Florida, you have Cubans, Venezuelans, and other South Americans. So there, Biden is falling short, and they need to actually ramp up their effort in order to close the deal. So why are they falling short? They're falling short because Trump has said that he is portraying Biden as a socialist, and a lot of social and welfare schemes are being portrayed. So this is creating that fear among the present electorate there, that we have run away from the socialism, because wherever you have the socialism, there is like drugs, mafia, and all those things. So therefore people are very, very afraid they uh, any drug related candidate, they don't get elected. So that's why people try to uh, show themselves as clean and family oriented, and such kind of attitude they try to portray, and people perceive those kind of attributes to the candidates. So right now we have the neck and neck race of Biden and Trump, and the recent polls are swinging in favor of Biden because there are two issues. One is the military that Trump has talked about, military personnel, derogatory words. That's what people say against military personnel. And the second one is about knowing the COVID and not taking good precautions against it. So the COVID is going to really make a lot of impact. So before November, even if the vaccines come in place, it may not be too much of a bump to Trump. He will get 1 point or 2 point nationally because the accelerated vaccines have come. But at the same time, if the vaccines are very dangerous game, so if the vaccines come and Trump embraces those vaccines, and another report comes out in a couple of days that says this vaccine has got these are all the problems with the vaccine, which will happen. Vaccine is not a simple thing that can come up in a jiffy. And even if it comes up, there are going to be issues with the vaccine. There are going to be distribution hookups, gaps, all those things will be there. So it's not so easy for anyone to embrace the vaccine and uh, gain some points in the political spectrum, because quickly it will be negated. There will be a bump in the stock market if the vaccine comes up, but that is already factored into the stock market, and therefore the kind of advantage is very minimal for Trump for the vaccine. On the other hand, there is going to be a debate this Thursday by CNN, and in that debate, if Trump comes out as a winner, then the polls will change. So it's not the vaccine that is going to change Trump; it is uh, uh, the polling. It's the debate that is going to happen. There will be three debates between the Trump and Biden, and in each of them, if Trump comes out very nicely, then he is going to have a good bump, and also the stock market is going to help him. So overall, the economy, the stock market is going to make people think that they are in a better position. So when people think they are in better position, and once Trump thinks that when Trump convinces people that he's better in the debates, then the polling will go here and there, and that is going to hit Joe Biden. But if the debate Joe Biden is comes out better, then he will become the president. So it all depends on the first debate. The first debate is the one that is going to make Joe Biden hit or miss the presidency. So if Biden wins, what is it for India? How will the Indians in India as well as here get affected? One is there is something called comprehensive immigration reform. That is what Biden is going to do. In that, more number of green cards will be there, and country-wise green card will be removed, and H1s will have the country quota of H1 will be removed. The most important thing is Biden is going to support India for permanent seat in UN Security Council. Obama also supported, and Biden is going to support. Actually, America helped India gain into this Security Council. Every 2 years or 3 years, there is a international voting. There are permanent members of the UN Security Council, and the other nations vote for other countries to have a seat in that Security Council. So India was voted by other countries overwhelmingly with the help of American support, and India is also having a seat as of now in the UN Security Council. So all in all, whoever becomes the president, two things are uh, important. They will be more friendly towards India. That is number one, and they will be more anti-China. Whether the trade wise or whether the conflict wise, because as you know, in US has already recognized Taiwan as a separate country. So any aggression on China towards Taiwan will result in US interfering into the South China Sea and those things. So all in all, there is a lot of status quo, and there is a lot of impression that the things will be there like this for certain time. Biden and Trump, both of them together, are not in favor of open China trade deal. That is not going to happen. So that is out of question. The second thing is about the jobs that the Chinese have taken out from US in terms of manufacturing jobs. Most of the jobs are structural jobs. Means structural changes means it's a long-term change. So a job that has been lost in US to China, it may not return back to US. Okay. So, but there is a heavy chance that most of the non-structural changes, not non-structured jobs that have gone away, they may come back, like service jobs that have gone away, like offshoring service jobs. Those things may come back, and definitely software and technology wise, people are being pushed. Companies are being pushed to have an alternative base in other than China. So this is the root cause of the Indo-China conflict. I'll explain why. Right. So this comes to our next segment of the Indo-China border dispute. So who is Xi Jinping? Before even we understand why suddenly this is coming, right? This is the incursion. China is saying India is intruding into their path, and India is saying China is crossing the LAC, line of actual control. There are two things. One is LOC and the other one is LAC. LOC is towards Pakistan. LAC is towards China. So line of actual control is with respect to China. Okay. So what is the root cause of China's aggression? Why is this happening at this time and this place? That is the most important thing that everybody has to understand, right? A lot of people are attributing of salami technique, like take parts of the whole, take a parts and make it to the whole. Like you occupy a little space here, you occupy a little space here, and then you occupy something here, you occupy something here. The whole region will be yours. That is a medieval technique that was used by a different, like East India Company used it against India, right? So where they go into one particular princely state, they do the business, and then they go like that. So this is a pretty tried, tested, and worked out model in terms of business as well as sales. Uh, and it was successful around 17th, 18th centuries. But today, at this age and time, that is not going to help, because over a period of time the conflict is only going to escalate and escalate, and if both the parties are almost equal, right? So for, according to Sun Tzu, right, the great military general or advisor for a lot of military generals take advice from the book of Sun Tzu, Art of War. I suggest viewers to look into it. So what it says is, if you are invading a country, right, then you need double the force. No matter how small, how big the country is, if the invading country should have double the force of the existing country. So the force is actually the soldiers and the technology. Both put together is a force. So that is how East India Company, with a superior technology, was able to rule India, Bangladesh, Pakistan as a whole unit, right? Slowly it was able to capture each one of it, and it was able to rule. because of higher technology, higher communication, and greater skills of the generals. So skill of general, the technology, and the army, the number of people who are the soldiers. So these are the basic tenets of any army. And the army is the one that wins the wars. It's not the air force, it's not the navy, it's the army that wins the wars, right? Air force and navy are more towards enabling things for the army to establish its control, hegemony. That's what they say. So, having said that, India and China after 1962 fought in again 1967 in Nathula Pass, 1967-68, Nathula Pass, and India won that conflict. India lost the conflict in 62, but India won the conflict in 67. But after that, there was no issues because of very good reasons. Like the Chinese understood that you cannot control India. India is too big a country where you can invade and control masses. So they said, okay, let's have a safe distance and let's not let's make sure that India doesn't hurt us. So that's why around 40-45 years, each subsequent Chinese leader uh, was giving good peace deals, but at the same time was maintaining the distance. And no shots were fired. People didn't even carry weapons in the 3,400-kilometer border. So around 2001 to 2000, when did Xi Jinping come into China leader stage, the grand stage? When did he become the leader of China? 2012. So from 2001 to 2012, there were two leaders, Jiang Zemin and Li Peng, right? So these two leaders were, and these two leaders enabled the peace to continue. At that time, Xi Jinping was the person responsible near the India-China border. So around 2009, 2008, 2009 crisis time, and 2007 also, there were little bit of posturing by China. So that posturing was done by Xi Jinping, right? So then after he became the leader in 2012, Xi Jinping is actually a son of a famous leader in one of the founding fathers of China. He was along with Mao Zedong, and this guy is a son of that person. So he's called Princeling. So everything that he had after, I mean, Xi Jinping's father and Mao Zedong didn't go well, and the Xi Jinping's father was thrown out from the power structure, and I think he was jailed or executed, either of them. But after that, around 70s or 80s, Deng Xiaoping became the Chinese leader. Once Deng Xiaoping became Chinese leader, he let go of Xi Jinping. Till that time, Xi Jinping was a very low-level cadre. Nobody even paid anything for it. I mean, nobody paid any interest towards it. Once Deng Xiaoping came, he did not focus on Xi Jinping, but he focused on the economy. He made the economy, he opened up the economy. From 1980 till 2010, right? Till 2010, the mark of uh, Deng Xiaoping is there, where each year around 150,000 people were lifted from poverty, and China quickly became doubled its GDP every 5 years, every 5 years, 6 years, it kept on doubling its GDP. So around, if you see, India was around 1.5 trillion when around 2000, right? Now it's 2.4 trillion. So around Yeah, 95 to 2000 it was like 1.8 trillion. From 2005 to 2020 it became 2.4 trillion. But China almost was equal around 2005. China was 5 trillion. Now China is around 15 trillion. So the huge improvement in Chinese economy was because of the reforms that Deng Xiaoping laid out. In 2008, with the global crisis, China also got a big jerk in its financial system. So that's when lot of corruption corruption uh, issues came out. So that is the reason why Deng Xiaoping, who was only a provincial leader till that time, became the Chinese leader in 2012. So if you see, around 2011 and 2010 and 2011, there was a lot of corruption cases in China that were coming out, because when the money is dried up, that's when people have issues with repaying their loans, with repaying everything. That's when the scams and all those things will happen, will come out. Xi Jinping said that I am your leader. I will root out the corruption. So Xi Jinping and along around 45 other leaders who are also the sons or daughters of the Chinese command, Chinese big guys. They call them princelings. So their father were already in power. The parents or grandparents were already in power. So these guys also came into power. Xi Jinping actually enabled that. So out of the total members in CPC, Chinese parliament, you can say, around 45 to 50 people have been nominated by Xi Jinping to support him. So he had a lot of clout, and in 2012 he created a tirade against the corruption, and he also the number two. There was a number two guy called Boji Lai. So Boji Lai was arrested and put into jail for corruption charges after Xi Jinping came. So why is this important? Why? How is this relevant to our India-China conflict? So right after Mao, after Deng Xiaoping, every leader in China wants to either progress the path laid out by Deng Xiaoping, or show themselves that they are powerful and they are going to bring back the lost glory of China. So what there is a cultural issue with the Chinese, that for 150 years China has not lived up to its potential only because of its leaders. That's what people say. So 150 years, 200 years, because of leaders in China not doing things good, they were into this morass. And each leader will say, I am going to bring back the lost glory. And Mao Zedong, the Chinese Revolution was in part made successful because of that. The other thing that every leader wants to do is I gain the heights of Mao Zedong or Deng Xiaoping. So these are the stalwarts of the China. They are like Mahatma Gandhi and Sardar Vallabhai Patel. These days you can't talk Nehru. So when the China leader came in, Xi Jinping, he started creating the culture. He started giving promises that he's going to make China into superpower. How can China become superpower? By having more money. So that's when the whole thing of transactional diplomacy, we call this. That is, you give me this, I'll give you this, quid pro quo. You give this for that, this for that. So when China was around 2012 till 2018, China was trying to get as much of money from US. What did he do? You buy our goods, I'll buy your currency. So China has become, around 2018, China became the largest holder of US currency. So at that time, what happened? There, the local businesses in China started falling. So what Xi Jinping did was the state-owned enterprises. He increased the state-owned enterprises, the state money into the business, and the business started failing. So where is he going to get the money? Then he created something called Belt Road Initiative. There is one Belt Road Initiative, and then the Asian Development Bank, the not the ADB, but he floated Infrastructure Bank of China. I don't remember the name as now. So that infrastructure bank started investing in ports of Sri Lanka and Gadar port in Pakistan and Iran. It put another port. It helped another port, and it is taking the oil from Saudi. It can't take oil from Iran because Iran is left out of the international dealings. US has given sanctions, so it can't buy from China. It can't buy from China. Cannot buy from Iran. It has buy from Saudi Arabia, and via Iran, and it comes through the Indian Indian Ocean and South China Sea and goes to the China there. So India is like this, and China is like this, right? So the port from the port around the Indian Ocean, it goes through the South China Sea and goes into the China. So that's how all the trade start happening with the uh, with Saudi Arabia, Singapore, and then the Africa. So Singapore, Gadar port, and the port in Sri Lanka, they were all used as intermediate ports to transfer the goods. So that's what this is a new Silk Road. Now, Silk Road, interestingly, is named by the conqueror of China, Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan is the first guy who created the Silk Road. So Xi Jinping took a leaf out of him and said, "I want to create a belt road from China to Europe and to America. Right? I'm exporting a lot of goods, and going through all the way through like this is very difficult. So I'll create a road that is going into the Europe and that is going into America." All things were good, and as you know, things become bad very quickly. So the state-owned enterprises start giving losses, and the Belt Road Initiative also, even though the roads have been spick and span and all those things were there, the demand for the exports have started coming down. They were not raising as much as Chinese wanted. And mind you, there are a lot of poor people in China. So when they see that, okay, my country is investing in Sri Lanka, my country is investing in Iran, Pakistan, what will the guys in China say? What about us? Where is the money? This is our money. You're giving it to someone else. So the pressure is increasing. Pressure was increasing on China. And suddenly Donald Trump came, and 2016 Donald Trump came. From 2017, 2018 onwards, the US China trade tensions started happening. Xi Jinping did not know how to deal with US. So again, the same transactional diplomacy started. So he said, I'll buy something from Ohio farmers, buy something from these farmers. But the industrial policy of US, trade policy of US, is not made by just Donald Trump. Donald Trump is only a figure. It's made by all the intellectuals put together, and they have the perception that Chinese steal the technology. So when it comes to underhand business, when it comes to things that, okay, you are trying to take away something from us, then people will become very anxious and they will start receding from, especially in the trade. So in trade, it's all about trust. How you trust the other uh, supplier, supply demand, right? I have a demand. I am trying to get it from the supplier. So I need to trust that supplier. The supplier needs to trust the guy who is taking the goods to be able to give him the money. So that trust was broken by China with US by creating more and more issues with the international trade. So, for example, on paper, China says you come and invest, you don't have to worry about anything. But there is an underlying clause that 51% of the shares must be of local company, and that local company is again funded by the state-owned enterprises. So, in a way, Chinese government has a lot of hold on all the companies in China, and any a company that's going to China is going to face those difficulties. Like Google, Facebook, all of them went to China, and they were not able to be successful. And their competitors have been given more impetus from the government. So they stole the trade secrets that were there in Google, Facebook, also the 5G, Huawei, right? Huawei was doing technology help, technology delivery for the Qualcomm and um, Apple and other things. So these companies have said that they have cheated they have stolen our intellectual property. So that is a big case against the Huawei. And once these companies say that these are all things happening, then no president or no politician can go behind and say, no, 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 you guys are wrong, we are good. That's not going to happen. So that is the reason. Even if Biden comes, the US China trade tensions will not go away. They will be there. Okay, that is the most important thing that everybody has to know. So when the China is now coming with the advent of COVID, what happened? People stopped trusting China. So they are buying things from China, but only as a intermittent thing, a transient thing that is not there with them, right? Like they want to rebuild their manufacturing, and over a period of time they want to take away China. So European Union has already said that Huawei is not going to be part of strategic partner. It's not anywhere near the strategic kind of companies in the European Union. So is UK, so is France, all those guys. So with so much of things happening, China then decided that we need to create our own market. We need to create our own suppliers and customers, and then started investing heavily in Africa and South America, and a lot of Mexican companies have Chinese investment. So there is a Mexican company, and the China puts in their raw materials there, make them finished good, and then transport it to US. So that kind of things are also there. With this background in mind, with the COVID going on, with other countries looking for a replacement to China. Who can replace China? India. India has got the technological manpower. That is the most important thing. You don't have technology manpower, I don't care how much money you have. You're nowhere. So the middle class of India, most of them are engineers. Most of them are intellectuals. So that is why India is the favored alternative for China. So how can this is the next phase of China. So if I have to make sure that other countries don't go away from me, then what should I do? I should make sure that there is no other country. I am here. I don't want any other country near my position. So I have to put artificial pressure on that. So when you put artificial pressure on the other country, that's when the other country will keep on fighting its own internal fights and they won't raise up to the China. That is the whole equation here. So that is the reason why China will not create a war. It won't. My prediction is there won't be a war between India and China. Only there will be skirmishes. Only because they want to reduce the treasury. So if you want to maintain the army, you have to put lot of money. So with the army going into different locations, if army operations are very costly, so the drain on the treasury will happen into the army, and the when the money is moving into one location, it cannot go into other location. So therefore, the technology and the other industries will not be able to spring up quickly, right? So then China can invest into these technology companies and make sure that whatever money they are getting, it also gets funded into China. So what happened with this skirmishes? The India-China investments have gone to zero. So they understand that we don't give them money, then over a period of time, there will be a position where the Indian companies will start asking for money, and they will get money. That is one way of getting back. The other way is to keep the pressure on the army and keep on negotiating with the army, keep on negotiating, and make it like a very long and lengthy things. And suddenly do some, there will be skirmishes. I'm saying there will be some, uh, little bit of conflict in a particular place where they will be bombing us, we'll be bombing them, we'll be doing retaliatory things, and people on both sides will be killed, but it won't be a war. There is no tendency for Chinese to go to the war with India. There is zero support for Xi Jinping to go to war with India. And every politician every politician, whoever is a politician, understands that you can't misuse the power. You have to go. The power that is given to you, you cannot misuse it. You misuse it, it just vanishes like this. So if there is no people support, they, even if he has all the administrative support, all the army support, army will do whatever it says, and whatever the command control structure is there, still you won't be able to do anything. So Xi Jinping is a very smart guy. He's not a altu faltu guy who's a populist and came there. He understands. He has escaped so many pressures on his early life. So he is very smart. He understands how to maneuver the waters. So he will not take a hasty decision of going to war. Only he can take the decision to go to war, and he's not going to take a hasty decision. He is going to make sure. And you and I are talking now, but these things they may have talked it like 2 years before. Nobody does these skirmishes just like that. So they may have played up all these things again and again and again, and they have come to a conclusion where they can nudge India and keep on doing it for quite a bit, so that they can get away with with a lot of concessions. Majority is trade, and also they won't have India as a trading competitor. That is the most important thing, that there it is there in their mind. It is not the army that China is afraid of, it is the business that China is afraid of. Indian middle class is what is making China sleepless. It's very antithesis of power, but that is what it is. India's middle class is having lot of engineers, lot of doctors, lot of scientists. All these guys are not staying in India. They are going to US. And the productivity gains of economy is on the intelligentsia. See, all the middle class put together, they make up something, some toy or something that is going to have more value than your tomato or your potato, these things. So the intellectual sale of products is on the top level of economy. Then comes the manufacturing. Then intellectual is here, service is here, manufacturing is here. The last one is agriculture. The last one is agriculture. The next last is manufacturing, and above that is service, and above that is the intellectual products. That is why China is afraid of India, and China wants Indian companies or Indian brain to be useful to them, not a competitor to them, but useful to them. So therefore, these skirmishes will happen. Now, where can India win in such kind of situation? Your economy is going down, your ability to fight will ability to fund the fight will go down, ability to fund the companies and the welfare and all those things will come down. So there will be a lot of pressure on India to do this. So we need a solution that is not going to be far ranging. It has to happen, it has to end in, like, say, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. It cannot continue for 6 years or 7 years. That is our weakness. What is weakness of China? Weakness of China is it doesn't have the soft power. It's a bully. Everybody thinks that it's a bully, and everybody knows that it's stealing their intellectual property. It is doing a lot of underhand business dealings are there with China. So every other country, there is a heavy leaning towards India by all other countries, and that is our advantage. We have to immediately recognize Taiwan as separate country. We have to send Dalai Lama as the Indian spokesperson in United Nations. So every country sees that Dalai Lama, they see China. What did this guy do in Tibet? Oh, these guys did so much things in Tibet. He is a Tibet leader. He is out in India. So those kind of things are its pressure points. India has to press those pressure points, and then Xi Jinping will start negotiate. There will be hurriness. Right now, China is not in a hurry to make peace with India. It will keep on continuing the same thing. Oh, India is attacking us, and then he goes obtuse, right? So they will blame India, and they will keep on fighting. The skirmishes will keep on happening. The meetings will keep on happening. There won't be any result, because there is no need for China to come up with the result. Give them the need. If you don't come out with the result, then it is going to defame. It's going to destroy you. That is the message India has to give, and you cannot give this message by military. China is now Pakistan. China is not something that that is afraid of India. It is much more powerful. So there is no way that India can go and conquer China. There is no way India is going to do that. The only thing that India can do will do is protect its land and make sure that nobody incursions happen into the land. Till that, it is okay, but it requires a lot of funding. The army cannot be put on a military alert for years together or months together. Months together is okay. 3 months, 4 months is okay, or even 1 year is okay. But after that, it becomes very difficult. So since you have time till 1 year, you have to press the buttons for China to come out to the drawing table. And how it is going to come out? not by military actions, but by soft war. This soft war is basically saying that, okay, if you, uh, what is this soft war, right? Soft war tells that you can make a person, you make a country do what you feel like doing, what your country, you can make the enemy country do things that you want when you make them, when you don't give them the options to uh, go in the path that they want to go. It's very complicated. So what this is without firing bullet, we need to come out with situations that is going to nudge China, that is going to push China. And what are those things that China is giving us? One is Taiwan, the other one is Dalai Lama, Tibet. Right? These three things are your arsenal. So put Dalai Lama in UN as Indian spokesperson and recognize Taiwan. So apart from India, US is also recognizing Taiwan. US also recognized Taiwan. So there is a lot of information that goes across all other trading partners of China. Then everybody is a trader here. So everybody wants to push each, all the countries want to take advantage of this. So Sri Lanka will take advantage, Pakistan will take advantage, Iran will take advantage, and there is an internal pressure on Xi Jinping also to get back the money that they have invested in different countries in different ways. If they don't do it, then his stature is going to come down. So India is a muse, so that every other Chinese are going to look at this skirmish and are going to wait for what's going to happen. But internally, Xi Jinping doesn't want this to get resolved. The only way you want this to resolve is to push them, saying that the more it continues, the worst it's going to happen to them in terms of their trade. Their Chinese is only worried about money and trade. These are two things that Chinese worry about. And these two things happen because China is able to export so many things. When the exporting countries start negotiating all the time, that's when the pressure will happen. And when will they negotiate? When they see a competitor, say like India, and then they see that China, when they can nudge China, push the buttons on China. Hey, what happened to Uyghur Muslims? Hey, what happened to Tibet? Hey, so with so many of the problems coming in, then it becomes difficult for Chinese army or the Chinese establishment to continue its present path. That's when they will come to negotiating table, and that's when we can bring our ideas to them. Like, then we can define what the LAC is and stick to that, right? So this comes to the last part of our show, which is Sushant Singh Rajput's uh, fiasco. There are a lot of drugs and mafia in Bollywood, as per Kangana Ranaut. We have to resolve this, right? So any country where the drugs, this is much more important than China war, than Biden, whether Biden will win US or not, because India-China war is not going to happen. It will be only skirmishes, and if the full-scale war happens, it will be done in 2 months, not more than 2 months. So the skirmishes will happen over a period of time, and you don't have any choice but to live with it. Okay, but the drugs is a completely different ball game altogether. Whether you see Mexico, whether you see Venezuela, whether you see Dominican Republic, all these countries are facing a huge problem. Their kids, the youth in those countries don't have a job. Nobody is getting a job. Nobody wants to live in that country. The immigration, that is the migrants are asylum seekers from these South American countries like Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Mexico, Cuba, all, not Cuba, other South American countries are in a huge uh, way coming to US. So this is happening because of drugs. This is happening because the drugs are totally prevalent in those countries, and they are preventing these guys from doing anything. So the law and order situation is down. When the law and order is not there, then you don't have a country, basically. You only have drug lords shooting in the streets. Drugs are the most important uh, things that we should remove. In that context, Bollywood drugs coming into Bollywood is not acceptable. If Bollywood cannot live without drugs, then Bollywood should die. This is a very good thing that Kangana Ranaut is doing, and we all should support, basically, regardless of what happens with China, regardless of COVID, regardless of any other things. This is also a fight you must do. It's not something that, okay, you can defer it over a period of time. Drugs in your society come through one, movies, two, sports. These two are the biggest influencers of the society, movies and sports. Once drugs come into these industries, then it will spread to whole society, every other home also. So they are your entry point, because every youth follows a movie star, and if the movie star uh, is known to take drugs, then the followers will start taking drugs. So when people want to take drugs, then obviously there will be more and more skirmishes happening. People want to, the ambitions of drug lords are way high than what your politicians or what your army people have. They will control everything. In Mexico, the army took at least 10 years to catch Guzman. So with this backdrop, what we all have to do is eliminate drugs from the society. They are the root cause of so much miseries of the society. The society will break. Once the societies break, there is no country. Your country will become a pack of cards. China was ruled by British by giving opium. Hong Kong, there you just look into opium wars. China was controlled by a small Britain for 100 years because they put all of them into these drugs, opium drugs. So, having said that, we should be in a position to remove the drugs. The drugs cannot be a mainstream in the society. If some 10 heroes are taking drugs, we may think only 10 heroes are there. No, behind those 10 heroes are like thousands and thousands of fans who want to emulate them. So if we remove those 10 heroes, then all those thousands of people will stop taking the drugs. That is the whole point in the fight against Bollywood. You cannot suppress talent, you cannot use drugs. These two are detrimental for India's progress. If you suppress talent, you are no less than a terrorist. You have to be treated like a terrorist, because India is a knowledge country. We are totally dependent on the knowledge. Knowledge and talent both go hand in hand. If you suppress talent, you are suppressing knowledge. And if you are suppressing knowledge, you are suppressing the future of India. So you are a terrorist if you don't support talent. You don't have to, if you suppress talent, you are a terrorist to India. You are anti-national. If you take drugs, you are anti-national. Keep these two things in mind. So if you want to be in India, if you want to have India progress, then remove drugs, promote talent. These are two important, very critical things for India to come out of the poverty. to come out of the present situation. So until next time, we'll come up with a more insight into the events that affect you and me. Thank you.